No.
Well, let's talk about solution, Mr. Speaker. While New Brunswickers are struggling with high costs of living and gas prices that are now over $2 per litre, the big oil companies are raking in billions more in profits over the past few months. In July 2019, almost 3 years ago, the Premier committed to reviewing the property tax assessments of the Irving oil refinery based on an improvement in the market condition. When asked by the media about the status of the review earlier this year, the Premier said he had just learned that the review has not been completed. The government could use this additional revenue that would be brought in from a higher tax assessment to help New Brunswickers get through this crisis. Does the Premier have any update on this important review of Irving Oil's property tax assessment?
The Minister of Service, New Brunswick.
Thank you for the question, Mr. Speaker. And following ongoing discussions with the Service New Brunswick Property Assessment Services team and a review of current information, government has been assured the current assessment of the Irving Oil Refinery falls within the acceptable range of value, and a review is not recommended at this time. The refinery was last fully re-inspected in 2013. Property Assessment's heavy industrial team has been regularly monitoring market activity, new construction and demolitions occurring at the refinery. The re-inspection of heavy industrial properties follows an established program, Mr. Speaker. Analysis is used to determine if there have been market changes either positively or negatively that warrant a re-inspection. If new information is brought forward that indicates a re-inspection is warranted, priority will be given to the property in question. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Deputy to Kent North.
Mr. Speaker, acceptable for who? For a Premier who touts his managerial skills and getting things done, I can tell you, Mr. Speaker, I would fire the guy. While thousands of New Brunswickers are struggling to go to work, put food on their table and pay a rent or a mortgage, the Premier responds, tough luck, I got billionaires to help. While Irving's property assessment went up 1.5% this year, they received a 4.2% cut in their tax rate. I don't think anyone from the working class got that kind of preferential treatment. This resulted in a $280,000 cut on the refinery in Irving's headquarters. I don't think anyone from the working class got that kind of preferential treatment. Considering the record profits being raked in by the oil and gas sector, how can the Premier justify this tax break?
The Honourable the Premier.
Mr. Speaker, I know the member opposite kind of has difficulty with anyone in the private sector that's investing and keeping a business running. And back a few years ago, when actually probably less than a year ago, when the concern was about with the pricing model that existed, with the carbon taxes being imposed, with the clean fuel standards being imposed, with all of the emission standards being imposed, the question was, would it stay running? Would it keep going, Mr. Speaker? And then when the market shifts and things turn, the minister would have us move up and down just to follow whatever day the wind was blowing. Mr. Speaker, that's not how business works, and he should know that. Maybe he doesn't, but he should know that. So no one would ever invest in anything in our province if that's the way that we audited, the way we analyzed, the way we assessed. But I can assure the member opposite, if indeed we find that, you know, this trend continues and we see the opportunity to say, well, things have changed, the market is now at a rate we should reassess, we'll do that, Mr. Speaker, because it's the right thing to do, not because it's the will of the member opposite.
Deputy